Hey you guys, it's your girl Jasmine Yvonne, and I'm just going to get right into this tutorial. So all I did was I took my Dream multi-use adjustable strap wig cap, and I just took my 360 frontal and I just pulled it down onto the cap. I pulled it so that all the hair is hanging over the remaining cap that's underneath the unit, and then I made sure that I had just enough lace to sew actually on the cap. So all you do is you just pull it down, you line it up, you overlap the frontal with the cap, and then you just sew the remaining lace all around the perimeter. Now my first mistake that I made, and I just showed you guys the tip as well on the screen, is that I did not sew this flap that's hanging down. It's one on the left and right side. I did not sew those down. Make sure that after you sew the whole entire frontal, like I show you guys right here, that you go back and you sew those two flaps down as well. I didn't do this, and that was my first mistake, and I had to go back and fix it because my unit was not very sturdy from me doing that. So make sure that you do that so you don't make the same mistake that I made. So now this is how it looks when you're done sewing and you have a whole bunch of excess cap at the bottom of the frontal that you don't need. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take some small scissors and I'm just going to cut this excess cap that's at the bottom of the frontal. So pretty much everything that's underneath that circle part that you saw in the frontal is what you're going to cut. So literally the bottom, all of that cap where the straps are at, everything that I'm showing you is going to be cut. This goes into my next tip, which would be make sure that you're careful not to cut any thread and not to cut a hole in your cap. I actually ended up cutting a hole accidentally in my cap and I had to go back and fix it. But you don't want to do this and accidentally get a bigger hole or a hole that you can't fix, because you might have to run the risk of starting over or redoing your unit and getting a whole new cap. So be careful. Again, that was a second mistake that I made. This was the first time that I was making a 360 frontal wig. So of course I was going to make mistakes, but I just want you guys to learn from them. So this is how it looks after I cut that excess cap. I just put this wig right back over my mannequin head and I just pulled it over. So now all I have is pretty much the frontal and a tiny bit of cap in the middle left over. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and start sewing my tracks. I just wanted to show you guys how it will look once you cut that excess cap off. So now I'm just going to start sewing my weft, and sewing the weft is pretty easy. All you do is you just literally take the track and you just put the needle through the end, you knot it, and then you start to sew. You can do up and under, or you can do through the weft. Some people say that they get more shedding through the weft, but I like to do it just a little bit because I feel like it makes my unit a lot sturdier. Also, now when I do sew my units, I do not do the flip over method with full wigs, especially with 360 frontals, because they can be a little bulky and not lay as flat as I would like them to. So now when I sew my unit, as you will see, I sew, and as soon as I get to the end of a track, I cut it, I knot it and secure it, and then I continue doing that throughout the wig. So that's how I've been sewing my units, and it gets them really flat. Also, when sewing on, sewing with a 360 frontal or any type of frontal, you don't want to just sew perfectly left to right. You want to do it in an almost U shape or upside down C shape almost would be a better example. Yeah, you want to sew in like an upside down C shape. This helps it to lay really good and for it to be really flat when you do decide to put heat on it or curl it. So don't just do straight left and right. Do it kind of in an upside down C or U type of shape. So yeah, I'm just going to show you guys how I continue sewing this unit, and yeah. Okay, so this is why I emphasized earlier to be careful when you're cutting that excess cap off at the beginning. As you guys can see in the front of the wig, I do have a hole in it. This is why I emphasized to definitely be careful when you're cutting, because you don't want to get a hole in your unit. I am going to show you guys later on in the video that I did fix it and explain how I fixed the hole in it. But just be sure to be careful. Again, This is my first time making a 360 frontal wig in this type of fashion, so I did have to learn as I went. So I hope this is helping you guys if you do plan on making a wig, so you guys can learn from my mistake and try to avoid them at all means. Okay, so right here I'm going to show you guys, or I am showing you guys that I did fix the hole in the front. All I did was I pulled material from the back of the wig cap and in the front, and I pulled it not too much that it made the wig really small, but just enough so I can actually sew. And I sewed a couple of times right here because I wanted to ensure that it would not come apart. So I literally went through it again, and did it to the point where that's why I have zigzag, because I was like, I refuse for this wig to come apart after I spent all this time on it. So again, definitely try to avoid that when you are making your unit, so you don't have to do what I did. So this is the final product after I sewed all the tracks on, and I make sure that you sew the tracks all the way until you get to right behind like the hair, where the hair starts on the front, so that's where your track should stop at. So this is the final product. And this is how it looks after I cut the lace off. You can add an adjustable strap or elastic band to your cap, but I did not. But I hope this video helped you guys, and I hope that you guys learned from my mistakes. And thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.